Welcome, everybody, to On the Back Cash Perk Talk, episode 4, where me and William sit and we watch some.
Let's get it.
Where we sit and watch some lot videos from this season, whatever season we're in. Right now, we're in DCI 2022. So today we got a treat for you. Will, you want to tell them what we're going to do today?
Today is first time I think I've ever seen anybody do it, but we're going to split up the battery for the Boston Crusaders from their front ensemble. Two separate videos. One is the front ensemble only, and the other is the battery only. So this should be interesting. Hopefully we'll be able to see some notes and phrases that you normally wouldn't see when it's the full ensemble or even when it's the full band. So this is definitely going to be interesting. And both videos, luckily, actually come from the Boston Crusaders themselves. So I appreciate them putting this out because, especially front ensemble, it's hard to, find a lot videos of just the front ensemble. So always love showing some front ensemble love.
Yeah. I'm looking forward to it just to see if I can. I always like seeing if I can hear the other book in the other book. So, as we listen to the front ensemble, will I hear that when I listen to the battery book? Can I hear how that stuff lines up? So, I'm looking kind of forward to that.
Right.
So, you're going to get a kind of a 2-for-1. We're going to watch the front ensemble standpoint and then the battery standpoint, which most people have seen the battery standpoint, but everybody thinks different. Everybody looks for different stuff. So, maybe when we watch it, we maybe point out something that maybe you didn't think about or didn't see. And all that good stuff. So hopefully you enjoy, and let's go ahead and get it started. So Boston Crusaders front ensemble.
All right, let's get it.
Very bouncy writing.
Yeah.
Appreciate what the works from the medals. I love when they actually give the medals notes and not just the marimbas.
Right. Yeah, just don't keep them in the background, be overshadowed by the marimbas all the time. Marimba line has good rotation as well. You can see how the outside mallet is still on everybody as they work in the inner ones.
Passing along the triplets.
Yeah, I like when people write that kind of split raindrop feel.
Nice switch modulation falling down there. Appreciate that. That's nice. That was nice.
Yeah.
We don't get to hear a lot of that stuff because the battery's ramming so hard doing that stuff.
Yeah, the battery's playing so many notes.
They're controlling time really well, especially with the metric modulations. They like the shifting of rhythms and stuff like that.
Yeah.
Nice expression through dynamics as well. the way to the last note.
Yeah. All right. Appreciate the one-handed roll. This is real subtle.
I think those are fives or sevens on the marimba for that section.
Yeah, that's what it felt like.
Nice work from the timpani on that.
You can definitely hear the horn parts.
Yes, yeah. So far, they use a lot of metal, which is appropriate for what they're trying to reach with those two movements. But anytime they play on the marimba, it's still a warm sound, still a warm, flowy sound.
Yeah.
And then we have dissonant dead strokes.
Switches to a
Yes,
harder, yeah, harder balancing.
burst runs.
A lot of dissonance.
Some deceptively tough stuff in that. Syncopation of space, the use of it.
That's so hard. It's like just like cold attacks in the battery. Even while he's clicking for them, that's still hard. I don't think people understand how hard it is, even when you write wild notes like that, to still make that clean.
Because you can't miss a note, even though it's heavy dissonance during that stuff, you still can't miss a note.
Yeah. This is such a cool part. I don't think the cameraman, when you're watching the full show, really shows this enough.
Because I knew they were playing cajon.
Yeah.
But I never noticed the accordion. Yeah, very subtle. Interesting. I don't know if that was a clarity issue towards the end of that last phrase. It's almost the really first time you hear the bright side of the marimba as well.
Yeah. I'll definitely give him props for creating the ambiance feel for each movement, the beginning of each movement.
Yeah.
Okay.
Nice dynamic control towards the end of that. I think in the show book they actually opened that up a little bit. The horn they brought down the horn book, or maybe even took it out so that part could ring.
Which is a good move on their part because they need more features compared to what the batteries do.
Especially if they're trying to get the Sanford.
Yeah.
Interesting timbre choices there to build into that.
This might be the first time I really heard the synths. I knew they were there, but it could be just the video audio. Not letting it speak enough.
Yeah. They don't, it's not as pronounced as the other groups' electronics are.
Right.
Which, that's not a problem.
No.
And like, you know, some people might be like, man, they sat there for a long time, didn't say nothing. We haven't really got to hear and enjoy this.
Right.
And with the tour box. Cool.
Yeah. Okay, Blue.
So while you're getting that next one set up, it's good to hear what they're playing. Because I don't feel, especially that stuff in part 1 and part 2, I just don't feel like I've ever got to really hear it. Up until here recently, you know, because we've talked about it on our other podcast, just the main podcast, is how the front's going to have to add to do something in order to continue to propel them up.
And that's what I was thinking as well. It's like it's not. I can't call it to be the hardest front book, or you know, as some of the other top 5s. But they're just going to have to come in on finals night and do what they do, because they, to me, the front supports the wins mostly a lot. And like I said, I think there's a lot of stuff that I was noticing that I was like, they help with transitions a lot from tune to tune. And I think that's important. And they just need to nail their run that they have and make sure all their permutations and everything is just hitting solid. And even though all the dissonant notes of the stuff that they're playing, if they can just nail it and it all still makes sense, they got a shot.
For lack of a better term, just because I can't think of a better term for it, Some of the parts seem a little pedestrian, just a little easy. Like, okay, we need some notes here, so let's just do this. As compared to a front ensemble like Santa Clara, where they may have transition moments, but they write their transition moments in the front ensemble so artistically that you don't know that they're transition moments or just filler moments. So, but I appreciate the book for real.
Oh yeah, because a lot of times you need stuff like this, like to just calm your head, calm your ears, your soul, your mind, everything. There's nothing wrong with it. There's a lot of hard spots. There's a lot of unseen spots that people may not recognize. It's like, okay, well, yeah, that's actually difficult. They've got, like I said earlier, when the guy was clicking, there's some code attack parts that they have that that they got to be in sync with each other on. But they could have possibly written themselves in a box, or not really in a box, but gotten themselves a little bit in trouble making the battery book so tough that if they were to try to throw on the same amount of notes in the front, it could turn into a ball of clutter and really, really hurt, because now you got a lot of musical notes on top of the horn line, on top of the battery. It's going oversaturate itself. So sometimes you got to pick and choose your battles.
But definitely going to look out for some of that stuff when we see them live, because it's good. It's good. It's really good stuff.
Yeah,
I really love the vibe writing. That's some of my favorite vibe writing I've heard this year. So, all right, you ready to see what this battery is about?
All right.
We know.
Oh yeah.
I don't know if you've seen these. I haven't seen them, so like my reactions are like, for real, like, oh, okay.
Now the battery book, at least this video, I have not. I've seen bits and pieces of others, but this video I have not. Let's see. Yeah. This also, like I said, it comes from Boston Crusaders themselves as well. So let's get ready for all 1,653,000.
Get your abacuses ready.
And that's just the opener.
That's just the top bass in the first game of the show. All right, here we
go. Okay.
Because I know.
You know what?
No, we won't.
Stop. I'm already done.
Nice, fat, open clarity from the jump, along with the basses.
I see they throw in that motor strobe, pumping out them triplets.
Ooh, love the space.
Shirley Murphy. See, it's the undertone.
I was about to say all those little subtle buzz rolls and stuff in the middle of it.
Yeah, and then they'll throw threes in out of nowhere, out of the end of a paradiddle. They'll just pump out a three, like there.
Nice trade-off.
And that's the crazy thing, is so many notes, but they are playing with dynamic control. That's even more dangerous sometimes. Right, top two bass. Alternating flames.
Next, wow.
I'm not sure if I've seen that.
Nice play off the rhythm in the yellow there. Like rolls in between the accents. Yeah.
Yeah. That's why they already sweaty.
See? You guys take 30. Restart it. Ooh, a little loose.
A little rough in the intro. Yeah. Okay. And there's some gray in this. It's just like during the full show, you're probably not going to even catch this, even the field judge.
More trade-offs.
Yeah.
Jesus.
See, right there. And then they'll push, it's almost like they're doing some push-pull.
So tasteful.
Yeah. Kudos on the tuning as well. Might have been the easiest part of the whole show.
And they probably struggled with that the most. Like, wait a minute. Where's the seven
Right. Yeah.
What is this? That's called a paradiddle. What?
See, coming into them left-handed flams.
Love the tuning of the bass drums. It makes things come out so clear.
Yeah. I see they did the muffling on the outside. Open singles, man.
They trading all day.
Right.
Nice.
Ooh, a little rough on the end of that. Yeah.
See, yeah.
Right.
I just,
You know,
go ahead.
no,
I mean, hearing it in that, and just a lot with just them, like, makes me appreciate the book anymore, because I feel like when I watch the full show with everybody, winds and brass, I should say brass front, like, they're ramming that first part of that show, and then, like, there's just times where they're just ramming in the show, and I'm just like, okay, what is this? I get it. You can drum. I understand. I get it. I need a break, please.
Right.
But hearing it just in context,
even though,
like by itself. It's like, okay, they are doing some of the things that we've talked about before with the shaping and the control, and there's that stuff is just there, and I'm wondering if it's getting lost on the field because what it's accompanying. Like that's my fear for them as far as the core is concerned. Is what you're doing hindering the brass or covering up the brass? Is it working? Is it working against it instead of for it, like you want it to do? That's my fear.
Right.
As far as the Fred Sanford, the battery can hang. The battery can hang, and it's just going to be a matter of will the judge be, or judges if it's two, be in the right spot when the front ensemble is shining, or will they be there when they're not doing as much as somebody else doing?
Because the scary part about it is, if you remember the show, the drum break, the front isn't doing anything. Like the run that we saw I think is towards the end of the closer or somewhere. The long run that they're doing, but all of the beef stuff in the drum break, or the big drum break, the front is just doing impact stuff. They're not really playing anything to support that. So you definitely don't want your judge there at that moment for the front, because that's where they're going to lose it. Because if you're just being blunt about it, that's what's hurting them. Regardless of how good the front is, because the front's content is not to par with the battery, that in a lot of sense could keep them from the Fred.
I mean, if you think about Carolina Crown back when they were consistently fighting for titles, but couldn't get over the hump because the percussion was scoring so low, it's kind of it might be the same thing on a microscopic scale as far as like the battery's doing everything they can, and it just may not be set up. I don't want to say that front ain't doing everything they can, but from a design standpoint or an arrangement standpoint, the mallet line, the front ensemble may not be set up to just push the battery over the edge.
Right.
And that's just kind of the thing, because it's not a bad book at all. But when you look at the creativity that Blue Coats is putting out in their front and the SEV is putting out in their front, and then the cleanliness that the Blue Devils are putting out in their front, we're talking about top five. It's not enough to push them over the edge.
And that's the issue. And I'm kind of glad we did this like this, because I know I see a lot of times people are like, man, I'm gonna be so upset if Boston doesn't win and this, that, and the other. And I just sit back and look at these comments, and I just tell myself, I was like, guys, I don't know who told you what or told you how this works, but you don't get the Sanford with just the battery. That's not how this works. I was like, you have to have your front on the same par. I was like, that's why I think so many people appreciate or love BD so much, or love SCV so much, or the Cavaliers front ensemble, so because they understand the balance between the battery and the front. And if you go a route like Boston has gone with putting so much energy into the battery and then putting just enough to the front, you see why they're in the situation that they're in. It's like, yes, okay, Boston won their show when everybody's there, but look who's been winning the most when everybody is there. Boston had their shot and Blue Coats had their shot, but it's been BD and SCV back and forth since. Yeah,
and BD actually hasn't won over SCV since the regionals have started, I don't believe. I think SCV has won just about every region. So,
and that's the scary part for Boston, is that this is all cool, this is all great and everything, and I'm not going to give you any doubt. Boston has the hardest book this year in DCI. I thoroughly believe, as far as a battery standpoint, the Boston Crusaders have the hardest battery book in DCI in 2022.
I would agree with that. I would agree with that. It's relentless. It don't stop.
And
once it starts,
it don't stop. And the funny thing about it is you can tell from our reactions, from the front reaction to the battery reaction. Because if the front was doing the same level by itself, it would. I feel like we would have gave it the same amount of attention or love or whatever.
And we're both front guys. Yeah. Like we both can appreciate and can look at a front ensemble and do that type of stuff. So
yeah, because I tell people all the time, man, I play drums. I'm a drummer and I understand and do all that kind of jazz. But when we go to the lots, I prefer to go to front ensembles. I will go to a front ensemble before I go to the battery first. The only problem with DCI is the front ensembles hang by the trucks while the battery go across the whole town state to the grassy area to drum. But it's it's two different sections, and it's almost like a show in a show in the live for the battery and the horn lines there, and the front ensemble's off by themselves in some cave somewhere. You can't find them. So it just makes sense to go to the grassy area for everybody, especially during finals. But at least, but yeah, I mean, I can sit and watch the front all day. Because in the end, I tell people, I was like, in the end, how many shows can you watch just the battery until at some point you need a musical note, like a real musical note, some rhythm, melody, or something that is not a drum being pounded. Like, how long can you go? Because I love asking people that question, especially in indoor. Because if you can hang in a gym with all that pounding, with no musical notes underneath all them notes, good for you.
It's hard for me to do it with a friend or something. And I'm just like, I need to, you go give me some nachos or something.
I tell you, yeah, if you can't last 8 hours watching color guard, how can you sit there watch drummers drum and bang for that? At some point, it's got to stop.
So, well, all right. Like I said, I'm glad we did that. I have a better appreciation for Boston's book, and like I said, I've noticed that they've opened up a few things where I could hear some of what they're doing some more. And who knows? They may make some small changes to help bolster what they're doing. But you can definitely see why they've been hanging around the top four consistently all season, just because that battery is phenomenal. That battery is something special. Something special.
Yeah.
So kudos to them. So this will conclude episode 4 of On the Backash Perc Talk. If you like what you hear, make sure you share, like, comment, subscribe, be interactive. Like I said, we're still taking requests of who you want us to watch and all that good stuff. So like I said, find us on Facebook, find us on Twitter, and Spotify, and Anchor.fm. I think that's it for now. But we make YouTube, YouTube, where you're watching this. But yeah, be sure to hook us up. And if I remember, there is Drum Corps Circle from we find these guys on Twitter, but they do an awards, and this is the last week of it. And you can nominate your favorite, not who you think is the best, but your favorite in a lot of different categories. And one of those categories is front ensemble. So if you're like, I appreciate the good front ensembles. Well, here you go. Here's your chance to vote. So I will try to remember to put that link in the description. And if not, you can find it either on our Facebook page or on a previous YouTube video. So, so that's it for episode 4 Perc Talk. We got some more stuff coming up for you. So make sure you tune in. So for Will, I'm Cedric, and we out.
What's that?